Hello again everyone. Today I bring you another addition to my tactical series where I commentate on what's going through my mind during a match. This time I bring y'all gameplay of the Whizbang, a tier 6 American medium tank. So just a heads up guys, I'm going to be doing this a bit live. Normally I write this whole script so I can avoid using filler words and whatnot, but it really takes so much time that I have to take days to do one of these videos, and sometimes I even lose my train of thought. Since the Whizbang is a fairly mobile medium that is fairly effective hold down, I figured going down the east side of the map would be best, just because it allows me to utilize that speed and be able to use some hold down positions, compared to the west side of the map where you're basically going to have to be poking out to most of your tank in order to be able to hit anything. So as you can see, I'm getting some shots in on some of these snipers that are not expecting anyone to be in this location yet. It's not a lot of damage, but an injured player is much more likely to play more passively and cautious than a full health player. In essence, your health is a bit of a cushion for you to do aggressive stuff. And if you make that cushion much smaller early on, they're less likely to do something later. As you can see here, playing Cold War has gotten me a little messed up on World War II just because of the shell velocity. It's much slower than it is in Cold War, and so I'm having a little bit of trouble leading my targets.
Target is hit.
Now here I did end up running out of some standard rounds, so I'm now firing premium rounds, which will lessen my issue with leading the target just because the shell velocity is much better.
Enemy armor is destroyed. Nice shot.
Now that all the enemies that were spotted are taken care of, I'm going to move down to the south where our friendly light is. I know I'm fairly safe going in this direction just because he would have spotted something by now, so I can play a little loose on positioning. Now I will say I was a little surprised to find that guy there. I would have expected him to have already been spotted and taken care of, but luckily I was in a position to where I can just come into this dip and take him out quickly. Now I did take a few blind shots at the guy's last location. I wasn't expecting to hit anything, but the way I see it, there's so little to lose if I end up missing, but there's so much that I can gain if I actually did manage to somehow make contact with the guy. Now unfortunately, in that location that my light is at, over here in the K0 location, I know it has some blind spots that won't allow them to see some spots over there in the JK area, so I figured I'd poke over here, see if I could see anyone that's hiding in the bushes on the J line. Unfortunately, I can't get too much closer to the K line without being spotted, so I'm trying to get closer to him before I move in. Now I did end up getting spotted, which tells me that the guy has to be somewhere on the K line. My guess was he would be somewhere around those hills with the bushes. I want to say K7-ish area, but I'm not too sure. There was a lot of different locations that I could have been spotted from when the 6th sense popped. Now I did come up to this bush just to see if I can spot anything, and unfortunately for this guy, he did fire, which completely destroyed all his camo rating, which allowed him to now be visible to me. And as you can see, I did end up taking damage from something over in the K6, K7 area. So unfortunately I didn't see where the tracer came from, so I'm gonna try to take a shot at where I thought it might have came from, but unfortunately I didn't connect, so there's an off chance the person might not be there. I'm gonna have to get some more information just to see if I can narrow it down as to where the guy is. But seeing as I am now the last person in this area, I'm moving back towards my team in case I end up getting pushed. Now this is a team-based game, so there is strength in numbers. It is much easier to win a 2v1 or a 3v1 than it is to try to win a 1v1, especially when you are slightly damaged and you don't know what's going to be coming at you. Now as you can see, I did end up taking a round that luckily didn't penetrate somewhere to the left of my field of view, further solidifying my belief that the sniper is somewhere on the K6, K7 area. Furthermore, you can hear the signature sizzle sound from that round, telling me that it is a heat round coming in, which makes me believe it is the IKV-103 on the enemy team. And knowing that, I know I will not be able to outspot it before it spots me. Knowing this, I know the best way for me to fight this guy would be to either break off and force him to come to me, or find a route to where I can get as close as possible to him without him spotting me. As you can see, I'm taking some random shots at the bushes in that area just to see if it can help me narrow down where the guy might be. Unfortunately, none of them really connected, so I know that he's most likely not in any of those bushes, but this guy ended up popping up, so I wasn't able to finish narrowing down what bush the guy would probably be at. Now it is a game of patience. I know the IKV is just going to try to wait for me to push up, and I'm in a position that will be unfavorable for him if he does become impatient. As it turns out, this Churchill ended up trying to make a play, and luckily in this position I'm able to fight him without having to worry about his other two allies. Also, you're able to hear the impact of that heat round coming in, which tells me that that IKV is still in that original sniping location. He's still trying to wait it out for me to make some kind of play, so I can keep him waiting by coming towards the north and engaging at Churchill. It also gives me the opportunity to see if by any chance that third unidentified tank is somewhere in this area. Also, side note, the reason why I keep switching over to the rockets when coming over a ridge is because it allows me to see what's on the other side without actually exposing my armor, which is just much safer in my opinion. With that Churchill down and my targeted notification gone, it gives me some indication that the other two tanks might not be in this area. With that being said, I am still going to poke over this ridge again just to see if Sixth Sense pops. If it doesn't, that at least tells me that the enemy isn't trying to cross over that field, and I am safe to go double check on that IKV to see whether he's become impatient and tried to start a push, or if he's still trying to wait it out. Now, because I don't know whether or not the remaining two enemies have pushed from the south, I'm taking the low ground just because I'd rather try to fight a hold down battle in a less ideal position than to try to cross over open field. because I haven't spotted anyone and I haven't become spotted from this position, I know no one has pushed up from the south, but they may or may not have pushed up to the ridge line on the J line. So I'm going to pop over this ridge just to see if by any chance that is the case. Now, unfortunately, from the position I was at, I wasn't able to spot anyone, but luckily my ally, who pushed a little further south before poking the ridge, was able to spot that somebody did in fact move up to this ridge line. Now, because I didn't spot them, I know that they are hiding behind this rock, which allows me to cross over this open field without any issue. Now, as you can see, the IKV was definitely not expecting anyone to push up through the open field, and my rockets ended up making very short work of him. With the IKV down, it is now a 2v1. This player has to play aggressively or else they will get surrounded. Now, I have to commend this player for playing aggressively instead of trying to run and hide, but unfortunately they did end up choosing a target with a high amount of burst damage, so they didn't really get much. And that's game. As per usual, I'll have the gameplay just by itself immediately after this. If y'all could drop a comment telling me whether or not y'all like these kind of videos, especially with this improvised style of commentary, I greatly appreciate it, and it'll help me decide whether or not to continue doing videos like this. Anyways, I bid y'all farewell, good luck on the battlefield, and I'll see y'all next time. Farewell.
Let's go. We're not getting paid by the hour. Focus attention here. Target is hit. Enemy armor is destroyed! this area. We pierced their armor. No good. It bounced. Hope they weren't using that. Bounce. Target is hit. Friendly vehicle destroyed. That one bounced. and penetrate their armor. Target hit! Mission accomplished!